For my week 7 presentation, I really had different questions. Definitely, it's different looking at the philosophy of education. However, as I started to read, and especially with the cave analogy, I decided that the main question I wanted to add to was what is worth teaching? That kind of to me sounds more specific and really what out of all the different subjects, all the units, what really should I be focusing on? And out of this one question, I developed 3 other questions. The first one being, how can I cover the necessities without shoveling information into the students' minds? How does each class need to be on the same lesson? And how can I determine what each student needs while keeping it equally balanced? As I was looking through these questions and really pondering them throughout this past week, I decided I wanted to focus mainly on that first question. How can I cover the necessities without shoveling information into the students' minds? I really liked all of the responses that I received for this, along with some additional study that I did. And actually, recently, just last night, I was reading the scriptures and found some more revelation for this topic and question that I had. The first one that I loved was Kate. Kate said that there's a concept called scaffolding where you build off of what the students already know, which I thought was fabulous. And for that reason, I think I understand more why professors kind of do those beginning of the semester surveys to see where we're at and how they can help us in our learning. If they build off of what we already know, we feel like it's not a whole bunch of information, rather just a little bit, and we learn something new every day instead of too much information that's too much to handle and we get overwhelmed. The next thing that I really loved was Plato's cave analogy. I started to think more about the prisoner who was released and how he came back and wanted to talk to the other ones and said, hey, there's such a great world out there, go check it out. And they all thought he was crazy. I think that students as well, once they learn something, or us as teachers can encourage them to say, hey, there's more understanding, there's more out there, take a look. And that's what is worth teaching, right? It's worth teaching them that they have more potential, that there's more out there than just the front and the pages and the back cover of a book. Rather that there's application involved, which education is action, and along with living the gospel and many other things, we have to put things in action for them to become a part of us. And I realized that if we allow it to be part of us, it can do much more, and we can see the world, we can open our eyes, and we learn an incredible amount. And the last thing I thought of is when I was reading in 1 Nephi chapter 2, Lehi is talking to his kids, and especially Laman and Lemuel. We know that they all have issues with the gospel and accepting the revelations of the Lord. But Lehi decided to name a river and a valley after Laman and Lemuel. And last night I decided that was Lehi's way of teaching Laman and Lemuel gospel truths in a more reasonable parable-like way. That's something that is tangible, that they can see, that they can compare it to. And I think that's what's worth teaching as well, that we can teach with parables and stories so that students can connect an idea with something that's more tangible, and when they see it or think about it, that they can immediately think of also the teaching that's connected to it. And that is what I learned this week with what is really worth teaching.